If you haven't played Souls game, I think you are missing, and you are missing big time. Now I tell you that before Elden Ring, I haven't touched any Souls game before, Soulslike, Soulsborne game, or whatever you decide to call it. Yeah, and the reason is because these games were very difficult and have a very high learning curve. But for me, Elden Ring changed all that, and since then I'm becoming huge fans of Souls games and also roguelite and roguelike games, and these are the games that I'm actually most excited to play. And now that, No Rest for the Wicked, which have some elements that are inspired by Souls-like game, is coming, tomorrow. And other Souls-like game will be coming, down the road. I want you not to miss these games because, again, I miss so many amazing games that otherwise, if I haven't given Elden Ring a chance, I probably, in that matter, any Souls games a chance, I probably wouldn't even understand what I'm actually missing. First of all, what makes Soulsborne, Souls-like games, so much fun? Well, for me, it's the challenging combat that feels very, very rewarding. Something that I felt lacking in so many other games that made me want to try something else. I mean, every victory, whether it's defeating a small enemy or a major boss, feels very rewarding. The games dole out character progression slowly, making each upgrade feels impactful. There's also really sense of accomplishment that comes, of course, after overcoming tough enemies and bosses. I also like that many of these games feature deep and dark lore. The lore of these games is often kind of a cryptid and fragmented, pieced together through item description, environmental storytelling, and subtle hints. It gives the game a better sense of, mystery and excitement when you discover something. Also, Soulsborne and Souls-like games are known for their dark and oppressive atmosphere, and the environment are often haunting and beautiful, creating a unique sense of immersion. I also really like the boss designs. The boss designs are really, in many of these games, are kind of over-the-top, exciting, beautifully animated, they look amazing, the music is great. When you jump into a boss fight, this is like a moment. And usually it's a very memorable moment that you'll never forget, especially when you're able to beat the boss. There's also the process of mastering the mechanics, because the combat system in these games is often complex but rewarding to master, so players enjoy the feeling of becoming more skilled and efficient as they progress. Aside from that, these games also blend some elements from other genres that I enjoy playing. For example, action RPGs, adventure games, horror games. And this is why I think why these games also have a great appeal for different audiences that maybe before they weren't into this type of games, before you just heard that they are just very difficult. I also think that in a more recently released Souls game, I think that developers try to appease the wide audience rather than focusing on the hardcore Souls fans, because they want the games to sell more and they want others to discover the games and appreciate, of course, and learn to love this Souls-like subgenre. Now, if you ask me which is the best game that I ever played, if I can really pinpoint a single one, it will be definitely for me Elden Ring. Recency bias is long gone, and I can tell you after quite a long time after I stopped playing the game, that still it remains one of my top favorite games of all time. But I think the thing that stands out the most is really the feeling of accomplishment. Once you're able to master the game, the pace of the game, the rhythm of the combat, it really feels so satisfying that for me, there's like nothing that can actually match that compared to all the other, let's say, feelings that I have when I'm actually playing a game. And because I gave Elden Ring a chance, I then went to play Returnal, which I actually haven't touched before because I just heard that it's very, very hard, so I just ditched it. And this becomes one of my top favorite games, exclusive game that I played on the PlayStation 5. The only reason I actually played it is because I built some confidence playing Elden Ring, and then I knew I can do it. Now, probably if I haven't jumped into Elden Ring, I wouldn't know what I'm actually missing, and that's the most important point that I want to clarify here. The thing is that some players might find Souls-like, Soulsborne game to be, too difficult, not fun, maybe in a way some masochistic, as some people say that. And I can tell you for experience that you do need time to give a game time in order to really start enjoying them. I mean, I played against a single character when I play Elden Ring just to get used. A single just enemy that was simple enemy that was still tough to beat. I just spent I think 2 hours just to get used to the mechanic because it's all was new to me. And the way they actually play with it, they are playing with animations that are not linear, so they are less predictable and requires very specific timing. So they play with the easing of the animation, and once you learn how to, the pace of the easing, sometimes they make it it moves slow and then super fast, and you need to adapt. And this thing requires time and practice. And when they're doing some mixing with different attacks that you follow one after the other with different easings, it can be very confusing, and it requires practice in order to be able to, learn the boss attacks in order to defeat the boss. However, many of these games have kind of a sound cues and visual cues that can help you out in order to, do better and learn, and rather than rely solely on just learning specific moves. Although in some boss encounters it is required. So what I'm trying to say to you, whatever the next game you hear, and the game that maybe looks great for you at first glance, and you hear the word Soulslike, for example, don't discharge a game. It might be well worth it. I recommend trying Elden Ring if you haven't played the game, because it gives you different ways to approach things, and to make it easier for you, or if you can also level up and become much powerful, and there's some weapons that are very powerful but just need to find them. So again, it's also encourage exploration, but overall it's more accessible Souls game compared to others. And I'm telling you, you might find out that these might be the games that you're going to enjoy playing the most, but if you don't give it a try, you'll never know. Thanks for watching.